Rogue Tier, we still winning. Magic Card, oh, we extending. Dark Law, he still contending. Sunrise, your lights in it. Yugi Peoples, welcome to the deck profile for my branded hero OTK deck that I have been using in Master Duel lately. I've been having so much fun with this deck, climbing up the ladder. You know, we started off in gold because of our lack of playing this game too much, but you know, with some new cards coming out and some new strategies to play, I wanted to get back on and try this deck out in Master Duel, and it's been really good. Like, I would probably say like the greatest weakness of this deck is like strategies like that some of them that they ended up banning, like VFD and Ren Gold, and you know, just stuff like that. Cards that just completely lock you out of the game when you play second, because this is a going second deck. As you can see, no hand traps, just straight board wipes, negations, and OTK gas. So yeah, like usually you have, like, you know, most of the time you'll have like at least one going second card and then two ways to get to your OTK, because there are so many ways to do it in this deck. I think usually about 16-17 ways to, you know, draw cards that you can use to find the OTK with, and it's pretty crazy, y'all. I've been having a lot of fun with it. A lot of people been asking for the deck profile, so let's go ahead and get into that. So the first card you'll see, like, different from my TCG list, is the Despian Tragedy. I added him off in there because there are sometimes when I want a free body on board. So, you know, after I've gone like branded fusion, say I already drew like Vion, so I don't need to, you know, go search for him, or I don't need to go search for Liquid Soldier or anything like that. I can dump the Tragedy and go get the Dramaturge, because I also added in Guardian Chimera to this build. So, you know, that's 63k on board right there with just them two. He's a free drop, and yeah, so I added the Despian Tragedy off in there so that I could go search for the Dramaturge when I need to, or if I didn't draw Albaz and I want to get that branded in red play in, like, it also gives me access to Alibur when I need to. So yeah, we got Despian Tragedy off in there. Really good card. It's been working out wonders for me. Then the next card you'll see that's really different is the Light Hexil Fusion. I put that one in there because I wanted like a pretty good light monster to send that wouldn't necessarily always just be like a dead draw like all the time, because if it's face up on the board, like say for instance I've already like special summoned out like Stratos or something like that where the hero lives, or say for instance I have the Alibur on board, you know, I can still normal summon him and be able to make a fusion monster out of it. And then also, like, it gives me access to the Shining, which if y'all have seen my videos, like, his attack ends up being like 38 41k, and yeah, just being able to access the Shining by using him and just like my other fusions that are light, you know, it's been really good card to me. Then we also have Stratos. Only one of them is needed. You really don't want to normal summon Stratos. He's off in there for a Hero Lives, and you really don't want to cut the Hero Lives either, because it's like really good for baiting out your opponent's hand trap a lot of time, or getting out of the gate, because a lot of decks are so scared of Shadow Mist they don't even want to deal with him being able to make the Dark Law. So yeah, you really kind of had that off in there, and I figured I'd put in a Stratos because a lot of times I want to use Shadow Mist to go search. You know, it just kind of depend on what your hand is looking like. Then of course we got 3 Vions. One of the cards is going to lead to OTKs. You know, he searches the Poly. He also has the ability, you know, to send the Shadow Mist so that you can add the Graceful Charity, so that you can summon the Sunrise and the Ab-Zero, or, you know, whatever cards you need to fusion summon in order to get to that OTK. You know, you even search that Poly. You can use it to make the Guardian Chimera. It's just, he's really versatile. One card OTK, really good. And we got 2 Shadow Mists. I went ahead and put 2 of them off in there because sometimes you draw it and you really don't want to not have a card to send with Vion. Like, it's gonna happen from time to time. Like I think there have been games where I ended up drawing Jaw Shadow Mist, but that's just bad luck in Yu-Gi-Oh! And sometimes things like that happen, but most of the time by playing two of them, you have access to it the way you need to. Then of course, one Graceful Charity, pretty how do you say, pretty needed inside of this deck, because you need to have heroes of different attributes, and outside of Stratos, he's the only one outside of Dark that I have. So, well, nah, I have a light one, but he's the one you want to get the draw effect with, and you can discard him to the graveyard, whatever you want to do with him, because you're using Albion, and Albion doesn't really care where he's at. He's just like, we're going to make sunrise with this. Then, of course, one Fallen of Albaz, you got to use it to use the branded fusion, so you got to have that off in there. Just one is needed. I really don't plan on like having grind games, so I don't play multiple copies of him. I want to get it one and done, and most of the time, if it's not one and done, maybe you can find a way to win by using branded fusion or super poly on your opponent during their turn, like whatever you have to do in order to make up for the failed OTK, which it will happen sometimes, because in Master Duel, a lot of people play like a lot of weird cards, and you never know what you're really up against. Then the next card, just 2 Alibur, because I really want Valion to be the only normal summon that I really use inside the deck. But if I draw 1 Alibur, like I really need to have 1 available for branded open. So we're gonna play 2 Aliburs off in there, and yeah, just in case I draw one, like I said, with the branded open, I really want to be able to special summon him to the board. A lot of times he's going to bait out negates and, just different stuff like that. And like I said, most of the time you're going to have like 2 ways to get to your OTK, because there are so many ways to get to it inside of this deck. Now, I think like one problem that I was having with this card was, like not being able to link summon when you special summon him with branded opening, was just like leaving him sitting out on the board, which is why I added in like the Guardian Chimera and even the Masquerade Dragon, because, sometimes with him and Dramaturge, it just makes him being on the board like a little bit better, having something to actually do with him instead of leaving him stuck there in defense position. All right, then we got 1 Honest Neos, because he's gonna help me OTK a lot. He's also a light in case I need to send it with branded fusion, which I don't think it's really come up at all. I can search for it also with Shadow Mist if I need to, if I already got like my Liquid Soldier, or a way to get him into the grave or something like that. He's a really good ad. He's gonna help me get over stuff that are cards that are bigger than me, like what's his name, the Cyburst monster. I've been hit with a lot of cards that are unaffected by other card effects and stuff, so he comes in really handy in those matchups, just by allowing me to get that extra 2500 damage over an attack. And like there are even like games where, like if I'm playing against Sword Soul, and like sometimes they just have like too much, and I just summon out Stratos, and like usually you can, and they let you get the Stratos effect, and I'll go search for Honest Neos, and like say for instance I already have like another card that I really need to get down. I just like discard the Honest Neos before the battle phase, and then like if they don't use the Baron to negate it, like for some reason some people don't think, oh, I need to Baron negate this, because who wants to use their Baron to negate the Honest Neos? And then so they just let it go through, and then I'll just enter the battle phase and attack over the Baron with the Stratos, and then set up some kind of play like with Mirror Jade or something like that, in order to be able to keep them from just blowing me out of the water next game. And that's what you got to do sometimes to get the W. All right, then the next card, Dramaturge, free special summon, 3k attack, really good. I think y'all saw like one of my OTKs. It didn't really involve any heroes, but it was what was it? I think it was like Albion with Masquerade and Dramaturge on the board, which is just like 8k damage, easy OTK. And all right, that'll be it for the monsters. Like I would say like pretty standard, but it's not really standard. I'm still kind of working out the kinks with the monster lineup. I kind of like it the way it is. I've been playing with it like this for about 2 days now without making any changes to it, and it's working out pretty good. And then we got our spell cards. 2 dark hole and 1 regeki, essentially all the same thing, basically just board clears. Like with Despia, branded Despia being like one of the most popular decks right now, they don't put up an Omni Negate. They put up a board with like Mirror Jade and whatever else they have on the board, and you just dark hole it or regeki it, and you've got that board clear to just go through and try to OTK them at point. The Feather Duster for your back row decks. Spells and traps, not too much need. It's also good against a branded Despia deck. You can go ahead and force out that branded in red and then dark hole or regeki them and clear off their board so that you don't get Guardian Chimera and stuff like that. Then you go 1 Rhoda to search for Vion. Most of the time, that's what he's pretty much there for. Every once in a while, depending on the situation, you might have to search out the Liquid Soldier. It just kind of depends. 1 Miracle Fusion. And there was 1 Miracle Fusion, 1 Polymerization. I don't know how I missed the Polymerization, but those cards, OTKs, that's what you need. That's what you're really trying to get to. I mean, it's not as important as with the normal heroes, because you also have branded fusion in order to make your fusion play. So but you still want to have it off in there. It's really good. It just kind of sucks that they made it to where like all my opening hands have Miracle Fusion in them, so it's like I hardly ever get to search it with Sunrise, but it's all good though because we've been making it work. Then 3 A Hero Lives, Ash Bait, or whatever kind of negation or whatever kind of hand trap you're trying to bait out or whatever, like, and if they don't, then it's a free way to get to Vion or to get to Dark Law if you are in need of that. So yeah, 3 Hero Lives, 2 Lightning Storms. I really need to have 3 of them, but I just never crafted the 3rd one, so there are just 2 of them off in there. More board clears, whether you need to do monsters in an attack position or you need to do spells and traps. He gets rid of both of them. Then the big enabler of the deck, Branded Fusion. This card, there are so many different ways you can get to your OTKs with this card, so you gotta have 3 of them off in there. Then 2 Super Polys, just because like I said, everybody's kind of on branded Despia and stuff right now. You can super poly their monsters together, fuse your monsters with their monsters, and just bring out even bigger, better monsters than them. Then 1 Mass Change for those matchups where you need to get Dark Law out on the board for some reason or another. You got the one of those. It's not as necessary, or maybe you need to dodge like a hand trap or something like that. So yeah, just 1 Mass Change off in there. It's not necessarily needed. Then you got 2 Called by the Graves. Gotta have those. Broken quick play spell card to stop stuff like Ash, which is probably like the terrorist of this deck. That's a really big one that hurts you, pretty bad. So gotta have the Called bys for the Ash in there. Then we got 3 Drip. The card is broken, especially like in a deck like this where you're usually going to be able to play a spell card, and then you can send that spell card with the drip for one of the negates that you need to take care of, and then just discarding whatever cards you need to get rid of in order to hit their other monsters and stuff. So yeah, 3 branded openings. It's really, really, really good, especially like in a deck like this where there's so many things that you can discard in order to get their effects, and it's an easy way to get to the branded fusion, which leads you to your OTKs and gets the job done. Then the next card we got is Branded in Red, another new addition that I've added to this since playing this deck in the TCG. It's been really, really, really good on those times where like my opponent did stop my OTK, because it is going to get stopped sometimes, and then I still have the Branded in Red as backup, and I can bring out Guardian Chimera on their turn. He can do their thing, and even like depending on the situation, sometimes I have that Polymerization in board, so you can get that that Polymerization engraved so that you can get that extra Guardian Chimera play. So the deck is currently 41 cards. Like, I haven't had like a lot of issues with it, just the normal Yu-Gi-Oh stuff that you would have, and I would say the biggest problem is like decks that set up monsters or traps, or stuff like that just makes it completely makes it completely to where you can't play through them. So yeah, that's the main deck. really, really good. You know, I like it. I've been having fun with it. You know, still, like I said, kind of working on it, working the kinks out, because I really want to put like another way to get to polymerization off in there, but we'll see how that goes right there. And now, looking at the extra deck, the first card you'll see is the Mud Dragon. You know, super poly target. That's basically what he's often there for. Also, you know, change his attribute to make it to where your cards can't be targeted by effects. You know, usually like changing him to dark, you know, will help sometimes depending on the situation that you're in. You got your one Dark Law, of course, in case you need him. You got your one Mass Hero Blast, you know, for when you need to pop those back rows, send them back to the hand to keep them from, you know, just ruining your game. Then Sunrise, probably the most important fusion monster in here, because he's the one that's pretty much going to allow your OTKs to happen. You know, he searches out the miracle fusion when you didn't draw it, which is, you know, only like 5% of the time, because you draw it like 95% of the time. But yeah, that's how that is. He's the big OTK enabler. Then you got your Ab Zero. You can use him in the OTK with Sunrise, or you can use him to clear your opponent's board. He's just so versatile, that board wipe that you need, you know, to get your OTKs through. Then the new addition is the Sunrise. Like, I've been loving this card, you know, bringing him up at 41, 38 attack, and, you know, just getting that extra damage off in there that you need for the OTKs. Then the next card is the Mass Hero Asset, which could probably be replaced with something else. I don't really bring him out too much. I kind of just had him off in there because, you know, Master Duel is kind of notorious for back row decks. So, you know, but he could probably easily be replaced. There's like, you know, you got Feather Duster, Double Lightning Storm, you know, even like Stratos and Blast, you know, to help get through back row cards. You know, even Guardian Chimera can pop back row cards if he needs to. And yep, that's just how that is. Then you got your Escurado. I have that off in there. You know, it's pretty good for the super poly targets, because a lot of the times, you know, you might have an elemental hero and a dark monster, you know. So yeah, he helps out. The Starving Venom Dragon, you know, his effect to gain that attack does help OTK quite a bit, so you need that off inside of there. Then we got the Albion, you know, the more important than Lubellion at this time, because like with this deck, you're really going for the OTK. And Lubellion can attack the turn he activates his effect, so you really need to get the Albion out there so that he can add his 29k attack, you know, with Sunrise out there on the board to help you, you know, push the rest of the damage that you need. Then the other card, Masquerade, you know, a new addition. Since I added in Brandon the Red, I really wanted to have him off in there. You know, there are some times where you're just not going to be able to quite push through all the damage for the OTK. If you have, you know, the Brandon in Red, you know, you can make your Masquerade Dragon and, you know, burn out, you know, your opponent's life points by them having to activate, you know, to try to clear your board and play through, you know, whatever you have on the board. And, you know, he also enables like that Dramaturge OTK, him, Albion, and Dramaturge is 8k. So yeah, I've been liking having him off in there. He's been a really good addition. Then of course, you know, you really don't want to play Branded without the Mirror Jade. You know, it's not too often that you're going to bring him out. But when you're forced to either, you know, go first, or, you know, when you can't quite get the OTK all the way through, then, you know, he's there to help you, you know, survive through the next turn, because he is got that negate right there. And Lubellion, you know, you need him because sometimes you do need to send that dark. Sometimes you need to send that Shadow Mist or the Tragedy, or, you know, whatever dark monster you need to send in order to bring him out. Or, you know, say for instance, you also need to discard a card, you know, with Lubellion's effect. You know, sometimes you need to discard the Shadow Mist so that you can go search, or, you know, whatever it is you need to be able to do. He enables all that. Then, you know, another card I wasn't using, Guardian Chimera. This card is really, really good. You know, I can't believe I wasn't using it in a TCG. Like, he's been, like, really amazing. Whether he's drawing or popping cards, he's just, you know, been getting the job done. And at 33 damage is nothing to scoff at either. He really helps with the OTK scenarios a lot also. And then we have the one Verte. You know, most of the time if I'm using Verte, it's because I've been forced you know, to not. I've been put in a situation where I can't OTK. So, you know, we use Verte, bring out the Mirror Jade, and we're going to sit on the Mirror Jade and try to, you know, win the game from there or do whatever, you know, from there. I think, was there ever a situation where I used it? Nah, I think, yeah, pretty much Mirror Jade is pretty much what he's off in there for. You know, that's what he's in there for. And that will pretty much be the deck profile. You know, like I said, I've been having a lot of fun with this deck. You know, it's a new, different way to play heroes and to OTK your opponent. Like, the only thing is, like, you know, sitting there watching your opponent combo for 10 minutes to destroy them in like 3 or 4 minutes. So, yeah. I really like the deck. Y'all let me know what y'all think. If you end up playing the deck, you know, and you make changes to it, let me know what changes you made to it. You know, I like to improve the deck as well, make it better, make it more consistent, make it more powerful, whatever, you know, to just make it a better deck. So I hope y'all like it. Hope y'all enjoy it. I know a lot of y'all have been asking for it. So there you got it. Let me know what you end up doing with it. I appreciate y'all for staying a while to listen, and I will catch y'all on the next video. Stay a while.